Joining me now, Louisiana Senator John Kennedy, a Republican and member of the House Judiciary Committee, Senate. Good to see you, and thank you for being with me tonight. Can you please tell me how we got to the point where Mexico let all of these people in? What is their southern border like?
Well, that's an excellent question. Our immigration laws in America are not broken. It's just that for the longest time they weren't being enforced. And President Trump has started to enforce them. And he's starting to call Mexico's hand. Look, he's got a terrible situation on the border. We have about 7,000 people from Central America that are trying to overwhelm our immigration system. And the insider elites and the nature cure quacks up here in D.C. lecture the president every day about the rule of law. And yes, the rule of law is important. But how come it doesn't apply to those who are trying to break our immigration laws? I mean, you could drown in the hypocrisy. We let in 1 million people a year to become American citizens. 500,000 try to jump the lines. Nobody's been stopping them. The president now is. I think the American people support that. And I don't understand why the obstructionists here in Washington, D.C. can't see the hypocrisy of their own position. I mean, to them, illegal immigration, it seems, is almost a good thing. And I think they're the only people in the Milky Way who really believe that. The American people certainly don't.
Senator, let me ask it a different way, just in terms of putting everybody now in the same place. It's been decade after decade where Congress has not done anything on this issue. It didn't matter if it was Democrats or Republicans. What is it about the issues of immigration, DACA, and national security with regard to the border? What makes it so incendiary for lawmakers to touch it?
It's not a difficult issue for me. To me, Harris, it's very clear. I support legal immigration. Indeed, the American people do too. We welcome 1 million people a year legally who follow the rules into our country. I do not support illegal immigration. Why? Because it's illegal. It's illegal. It's wrong. If you don't like the law, change it. But what is happening now on our border, the most recent episode, is just similar to what happened in 1980.
Yes.
When Castro at the Mariel boat lift, I don't remember how many tens of thousands of people, he put them on boats and he tried to overwhelm our immigration system in Florida. The same thing is happening here, and President Trump is saying no. And I marvel at the hypocrites who criticize him. The same ones who tell him you're not following the rule of law for Mueller are telling him to ignore the law for the migrants.
Well, that's an interesting point. I want to move on to another situation that happened for senators today on the Hill, and that was that briefing with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and Defense Secretary Mattis. For all the senators who were there in the room, I know you cannot go into excruciating detail, but it was about the killing of Jamal Khashoggi and our relationship with Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
In the last few hours, Senator Lindsey Graham has come out pretty strong on this issue. He won't even vote on the spending bill until he hears from the CIA director, Gina Haspel. Why wasn't she there?
Well, first, let me say I respect Lindsey's position. He's right. The CIA director was not there. I wish she had been there, but I think I know why she wasn't there. I think that she's worried about something that she would tell us leaking.
Was she invited?
I don't know that. I think she was, but I don't know that for a fact.
Yeah, I haven't read that she was, but okay.
I am told, initially I was a bit perturbed. I said, where's the CIA director? But I was told later that part of the concern, and I wish this weren't the case, but it's true, Harris, is that in a classified briefing, her team was worried that some senator was going to go out and leak classified information.
But I tell you, that leaking problem, if that is the case, somebody's got to deal with that.
Well, I mean, people can get killed. To some people up here, it's just politics. But to the people on the front lines, it's life and death. Now, I think I know what happened in Saudi Arabia. We'll never know for sure. Mr. Khashoggi is dead. He's dead as 4 o'clock. I'm sorry he's dead. They butchered him like a hog. It was wrong. Whether the Prince Mohammed knew about it, I don't know. He's as captain of the ship. He and the king are responsible. And we should condemn it in the strongest possible terms.
What will Congress do?
Well, that's what we're struggling with. Now we've got to strike a balance here between condemnation and expressing the fact that this is horrible, it's wrong, but at the same time, we've got to maintain stability in the Middle East.
And you've got a situation in Yemen as well that could
absolutely
be the worst humanitarian crisis that we've seen in the open era from what they're estimating.
And some of my colleagues want to say, they say, let's just cut Saudi off like a dead stump. Well, that's fine. We could end up with a war in the Middle East because the Saudis are operating as a balance against Iran and Turkey. Now, presidents every day, I wish it weren't the case, but presidents every day, unfortunately, have to struggle with dealing with authoritarian governments that don't share our values, but whose interests are important to us. And the same thing is true with Pakistan. You talk about violation of civil rights.
Yeah, but we don't have missing journalists and dead journalists in Pakistan that work for the Washington Post.
Not that we know about. Not that we know
wow.
about.
You turn a phrase and you bring the heat, Senator Kennedy. I can only imagine what it's like on the Hill, working alongside you. You're very impassioned.
There are times, Harris, that I don't agree with President Trump. But there's some people in this city that think you're morally tainted if you ever agree with the president on anything. And you could drown in the hypocrisy.
I want to ask you one last question because I'm reading that you think your state is in trouble and that you might run for governor. And I bring up all of your passion because you would be sorely missed in the Senate. What do you say about running for the governor of your state?
Well, I've been asked to run. If you believe the polls, if I ran, I'd win. I haven't made a decision. I'm going to make a decision by Monday. I'm very torn. I don't know what I'm going to do. It's such an honor to represent Louisiana in the United States Senate, but my state is in trouble, and I honestly don't know what I'm going to do. But I made a vow I'd make a decision by Monday, and I'm going to do that. And if to the extent you're interested, I'll let you know.
I am interested. Always interested. Senator Kennedy, thank you for your time tonight from the great state of Louisiana.
Thank you.